Hi, I'm Doug Bistry, President and CEO of Clearinghouse CDFI. Welcome to our 20-year anniversary celebration. 20 years ago, few people, including myself, could have imagined the accomplishments and the impact this special company has made. Our mission has been to address unmet credit needs, providing loans and services in low and moderate income communities. We've been able to be successful and accomplish this because of so many of you and your involvement. Our shareholders, our friends, our supporters, and particularly our staff. Let's hear from some of the people who have been involved over the past 20 years.
I came to be involved with the Clearinghouse CDFI through the Affordable Housing Clearinghouse, its nonprofit partner. So I started attending these meetings that were organizing around the Community Reinvestment Act. The goal there was to promote community development through a cooperative effort between lenders, nonprofits, local governments. And we found that after a while, we weren't able to get the deals done that we'd hoped to be able to do. And we started thinking, well, what should we do? And forming our own lending organization where we had control over the credit decisions was what we ultimately decided to do. And that's how the Clearinghouse CDFI got formed.
The early days, people like Jim Davis and Ron Rohr, they may not have agreed, maybe even politically, or maybe even philosophically, but they saw the value in what this organization could do. I can hear Jim Davis's voice, I can hear Ron Rohr on things we should be cautious about or things that we should lean into and move forward. At the time, I wasn't on the board, so for some time I watched on the sidelines as the organization formed at a crucial time when there weren't a lot of other CDFIs being formed.
I started out as a consultant when the company first started, and Doug Bistry had called me and asked if I would do the accounting for this new company he was starting called Clearinghouse CDFI. And I didn't even know what a CDFI was or what that meant. It sounded easy, and I was working with a lot of other nonprofits at the time, and he said, well, this will be a for-profit, what do you think? And I said, well, sure, it sounds pretty simple. So, and in the beginning it was really simple.
I became involved with Clearinghouse in 1998. At that time, I was working at Coast Federal Bank and was responsible for CRA. My CRA officer came and said, there's this new thing called a CDFI starting up in Orange County, and we should invest in it. So I came down and met with Doug, and Coast Federal was one of the first investors in Clearinghouse CDFI.
You know, the history, we can't forget the history. We look back at this organization and we think, wow, it's 20 years. That seems like a really long time. It was a brilliant time, but it was also high risk and hard to get money. We know bankers are not necessarily first adopters. They don't ever want to be that. And their money always comes in at the end. But when you're forming something, forming a corporation, especially a CDFI, it needed to come in early. They had to be stockholders. And they came.
We've shared a lot of great memories over the past years, including some of my favorites. One of the ones that I remember so much is when we were struggling to raise the money in our first private placement offering. We were less than 50% there, and I was beginning to doubt whether or not we would raise the entire money needed to start off the company. I received a call from Paul Renstrom at Fidelity Federal, and Paul informed me that he was going to provide 20%, which back then was a tremendous amount for us. That helped us get over the top, and if not for Paul, we probably would never have made that capitalization. Thanks again, Paul, for believing in us at that early stage. There are so many memories I have of the tremendous staff members who have worked at Clearinghouse CDFI. I remember the first day of Melissa DeMott, I remember Lisa Hill's first day, and I also remember Christy starting with our company. So many key people have helped us to become who we are today. I thank you. Let's take a look back at some of the fond memories and some of the memorable projects we've financed over the past 20 years.
I think I was kind of lucky to get involved with the Clearinghouse CDFI. Southern California Savings was one of the first investors in the Clearinghouse CDFI back in 1997. The individual who was on the board at the time transferred to another institution, and they picked me to sit on the board for the Clearinghouse, and the Clearinghouse appointed me to the loan committee.
Memorable CDFI projects. There's so many. that come to mind. I would probably say one of the first ones was New Solutions. That was a wonderful capitalization of a wheelchair manufacturing company, and it was a unique structure and a little bit different for us because it was not, it was a different type of collateral. And so we were again kind of dipping our toe into a little bit different type of lending to help a small business, which was very, very successful.
So one of the projects that stands out to me is the Market Creek Shopping Center in San Diego. That project had a community impact, it had community involvement behind it, it was an interesting public space, it brought a supermarket to a neighborhood that desperately needed one, and it also got us a lot of attention, including attention from the U.S. Department of Treasury's CDFI fund. So that one is quite memorable.
I think my all-time favorite project, which we did under the New Markets program, was the Monarch School in San Diego, which was a school that had been in existence for about 20 years, I believe, but needed to expand because they were providing school for homeless kids in San Diego. And the school was well respected and had support of the community, and the city ended up donating an old warehouse building, which they then converted to a lovely modern school facility. And so when we went down there to have an annual meeting there once, to see it in operation, to see the children there, to see them in this great school environment, and realize, that's what Clearinghouse is about.
I think the Clearinghouse CDFI is very unique amongst other CDFIs because of the impact they can prove in the communities. Every loan, every deal they've made has an impact statement with it that shows exactly how the community is being helped. It's not general, it's very precise, whether it be creating housing, creating jobs, sustainable jobs too, and not just low-income jobs, but jobs that people can support their families with. The investors think that's important. Our regulators think that's important because job creation, affordable housing, these types of things are what makes our communities stronger. So the Clearinghouse CDFI really looks at the impact in every deal.
Doug Beastry in the management there asked if I would serve on the advisory board for New Markets tax credits. And so I became one of the advisors that were representing various areas. My area was San Diego and Imperial counties. And as advisors, we were asked to really keep our ear to the ground on projects in our area that would be appropriate for New Markets tax credit financing.
Clearinghouse CDFI's mission is to create meaningful impact in disadvantaged communities through our lending. Thanks to the support of our partners and our staff, we have been able to fund over 1,700 loans, serve over 1.4 million people, create over 16,000 jobs, develop over 7,200 affordable housing units, and deploy $437 million in 51 New Markets tax credit projects. We've also been able to deploy over $139 million under the CDFI Bond Guarantee Program.
When Doug came to me with this notion of starting a community development financial institution, but trying something a little different by doing a for-profit model, I think was very unique. And a lot of people didn't really understand why he wanted to do that. To prove that you could do wonderful lending in the community and still be a for-profit corporation under this CDFI umbrella was quite unique. The ability to pay a dividend back to investors over time that have been with us since the beginning. I think that was great. And I think that just that for-profit structure has proven to be very successful.
There's been a lot of great memories at Clearinghouse CDFI. Some of them are associated with some of the successes we've had, as a company. I am very proud of the fact that, we've had a number of firsts. I remember the day that we first became a member of the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco. That had never been done before. That paved the way for, several years later for being the first CDFI in the nation to successfully win an award with the CDFI bond program. Today we've received 2 awards, each for $100 million, and so it's a significant undertaking. And then yet again, fast forward another year, we were the first CDFI in the nation to be rated by Standard & Poor's. That had never happened among anybody in the CDFI industry, and we're very proud of that. And I mention those things because that's how I think of Clearinghouse CDFI.
Clearinghouse CDFI has grown substantially over the past 2 decades. We diversified our business lines and expanded our service areas, including Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and sovereign nations in the Western United States. We reached a significant milestone in funding $1.2 billion in total loans.
I think there's no limit to what the Clearinghouse CDFI can achieve if they stay on the path that they're on right now with their skill set. You do have a dedicated bunch of employees, but on top of that, you have some very dedicated investors. You have some very dedicated board members. They actually care about the business. They actually interact with the staff. And I think that's very important because these board members bring a lot of high-level talent from their career set into the Clearinghouse CDFI. I've remained on the Clearinghouse CDFI board for all these years because, one, I believe in their mission, I believe in what they've accomplished, and of all the organizations I've been involved with over the years, they have some of the most material and impactful results, that I can attest to.
As we look back over 20 years of impact, we are particularly grateful to all of you, our friends, supporters, partners, shareholders, and especially our staff. As we look forward to the future, I am very excited about our continued growth and expansion, strong financial returns, and an even greater impact in the communities we serve. As we look forward, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who have contributed so much to help make our success over the past 20 years. On behalf of the entire staff and our board of directors, thank you for 20 years of commitment and service. Thanks.
Happy, 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 happy anniversary. Happy, 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 happy anniversary. Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, Clearinghouse CDFI.